Well, there's the Red Nation movement still. By Red Nation, they're Marxist-Leninist movements that, in conjunction and coalition with other indigenous movements. So I wouldn't say that. I would say the Red Nation's pretty well connected and stuff like that. So, what I'd say. Oh wow! Look at Jack is crashing out. Everybody, look at this. Is what you call crashing out. This is what you call crashing out. That's what called crashing out. That was wild. Anyways, let's get started. The one was crashing out. Hilarious. Okay, all right, let's go. Today, I have almost finished writing this when someone arrives. Donna Juaneta. After old Don Antonio dies, Donna Juaneta allows her life to slow down to a gentle pace she uses when preparing coffee. Physically strong, Donna Juaneta was announced she will die. Quote, "Don't be silly, grandmother." I said, refusing to meet her eyes. Look, you, she answered. If we must die in order to live, nothing will keep me from dying, much less a young brat like yourself, says the scolding Donna Juaneta. Jesus Christ. Old Don Antonio's woman, a rebel woman all her life, and apparently a rebel even in response to her death. Meanwhile, on the other side of the blockade, she appears. She has no military rank, no uniform, no weapon. Only she knows she is a Zapatista. Much like the Zapatistas, she has no face or name. She struggles for democracy, liberty, and justice, just like the Zapatistas. She is part of what the NEZLN call civil society, a people without a political party, who do not belong to a political society, made up of leaders of political parties. Rather, she is part of an amorphous yet solid part of society that says, day after day, enough is enough. At first, she is surprised at her own words, but over time, through the strength of repeating them, and above all, living them, she stops being afraid of these words, stops being afraid of herself. She is now a Zapatista. She has joined her destiny with the new Derlum of the Zapatistas National Liberation Army, which so terrorizes political parties and powers intellectuals. She has already fought against everyone, against her husband, her lover, her boyfriend, her children, her friends, her brother, her father, her grandfather. You are, I'm going to use not sound. They say she leaves a great deal behind. What she renounces, if one is talking about size, is much greater than what the empty-handed rebels leave behind. Her everything, her world demands she forgets, quote, those asinine Zapatistas, while conformity calls her to sit down in the comfortable indifference that lives and worries only about itself. She leaves everything behind. She says nothing. Early one dawn, she sharpened the tender point of hope and begins to emulate many times in one day, at least 364 times a year, the January 1st of her sister Zapatista. She smiles. Once she merely admired the Zapatistas, but no longer. Her admiration ended the moment she understood that there are a mirror of her rebellion, of her hope. She discovers that she is born on January 1st, 1994. From then she feels that her life, in what has always said to be a dream of a utopia, might actually be a truth. In silence and without pay, side by side with other men and women, she begins to knit that complex dream that some call hope. Everything for everyone, nothing for ourselves. She meets March 8th with her face erased and her name hidden. With her come thousands of women. More and more arrive, dozens, hundreds, thousands, millions of women who remember all over the world that there is much to be done, and remember that there is still much to fight for. It appears that dignity is contagious, and that it is the women who are more likely to become infected with the uncomfortable ill. This March 8th is a good time to remember and to give her rightful place, to give their rightful place to the insurgent Zapatistas, to the women who are armed and unarmed, to remember the rebels and those uncomfortable Mexican women not bent over knitting that history, which without them is nothing more than a badly made fable. I like that. That was great. Now it's tomorrow. Section 3, tomorrow. If there is to be one, it will be made with women, and above all by them. From the mountains of the Mexican southeast, Comandante and Sergeant Marcos. Oh, these are notes, so we're moving on. War. First declaration of the Lancandan jungle, January 2nd, 1994. To the people of Mexico, Mexican brothers and sisters, we are a product of 500 years of struggle, first led by insurgents against slavery during the War of Independence with Spain, then to avoid being absorbed by North American imperialism, then to proclaim our Constitution and expel the French Empire from our soil. Later, when the people rebelled against Porfirio Diaz's dictatorship, which denied us of just applications of the reformed laws. The leaders like dictatorship, which deny us the just application of the forms of the reformed laws. The leaders like Villa and Zapata emerge poor men just like us, who have been denied the most element preparation so they can use us as cannon fodder and pillage of the wealth of our country. They don't care that we have nothing, absolute nothing, not even a roof over our heads, no land, no work, no health care, no food or education, not the right to freely and democratically elect our political representatives, nor independence from foreigners. There is no peace or justice for ourselves and our children. But today we say enough is enough. We are the inheritors of the truth builders of our nation. We are millions, the dispossessed, who call upon our brothers and sisters to join the struggles as the only path, so that we will not die of hunger due to the insatiable ambition of the 17-year dictatorship led by the clique of traitors who represent the most conservative and sellout groups. They are the same ones who oppose Hidalgo and Morales, the same ones who betrayed Vicente Guerrillero, the same ones that sold half our country to the foreign invaders, the same ones that imported a European prince to rule our country, the same ones that formed the scientific pro-Ferrasta dictatorship, the same ones that imposed the petroleum expropriation, the same ones that massacred the railway workers in 1958 and the students in 1968. The same ones that today take everything from us, absolutely everything, to prevent the continuation of the above, and as our last hope, after having tried to utilize all legal means based on our Magna Carta, we go to our Constitution to apply Article 39, which says national sovereignty essentially and originally resides in the people. All political power emanates from the people, and its purpose is to help the people. The people have at all times an unalienable right to alter or modify their form of government. Therefore, according to our Constitution, we declare the following to the Mexican Federal Army, the pillar of the Mexican dictatorship, from which we suffer monopolized by a one-party system led by Carlos Salinas de Gortira, the maximum of and illegitimate federal executive that today holds power. According to this declaration of war, we ask that other powers of the nation advocate to restore the legitimacy and the stability of the nation by overthrowing the dictator. Yeah. We also ask the international organization and the International Red Cross watch over the regulate our battles, so that our efforts are carried out while still protecting our civilian population. We declare now that always that we are subject to the Geneva Accord, forming the EZLN as the fighting arm of our struggle for liberation. We have the Mexican people on our side. We have the nation and the beloved tricolored flag, highly respected by our insurgent fighters. Our uniforms are black and red, symbol of our working people on strike. And we will always carry our flags emblazoned with the letters EZLN, the Zapatistas National Liberation Army, into combat. For the outset, we reject all intentions to disgrace our just cause, accusing us of being drug traffickers, drug guerrillas, thieves, or other names that might be used by our enemies. Our struggle adheres to the Constitution and is inspirited by its call for justice and equality. Therefore, according to this declaration of war, we give our military forces, the NZLN, the following orders. First, advance to the capital of the country, overcome the Mexican Federal Army, protecting in our advance the civilian population, and permitting the people liberated to elect freely and democratically their own administrative authorities. Second, respect the lives of our prisoners and turn over all wounded to the International Red Cross. Third, initiate summary judgments against all soldiers of the Mexican Federal Army and the political police who have received training or have been paid by foreigners. They are accused of being traitors to our country, and against all those who have repressed mistreated the civil population or robbed from our attempted crimes against the people against the good of the people. Fourth, form new troops with all those Mexicans who show interest in joining our struggle, including those who, being enemy soldiers, turn themselves in without having fought against us. The promise to take orders from the general command of the Zapatistas National Liberation Army. Fifth, we ask for the unconditional surrender of the enemy headquarters before we begin to combat, in order to avoid any loss of lives. Taking water. Sweet. All right. 6, suspend the robbery of our natural resources in the areas controlled by the EZLN. Sounds like good demands to me, everybody. To the people of Mexico, we, men and women, whole and free, are conscious that the war that we have declared is the last but just resort. For many years, the dictators have been waging an undeclared genocidal war against our people. Therefore, we ask for your decided participation to support this plan by the Mexican people who struggle for work, land, housing, food, healthcare, education, independence, freedom, democracy, justice, and housing. And peace. We declare that we will not stop fighting until the basic demands of our people have been met by forming a government for our country that is free and democratic. Join the insurgent forces of the Zapatistas National Liberation Army. General Command of the EZLN, 1993. There's a bunch of notes. Dying in the orders of live. Dying in order to live. Sorry, January 6, 1994. Here we are, the dead of all times, dying once again, but now in order to live. During these past 10 years, more than 150,000, I'm going to make sure. Okay, good. More than 150,000 indigenous people have died from curable diseases. The federal, state, and municipal governments and their economic and social programs do not take into account any real resolutions to our problems. They limit themselves to give us clarity every time election rolls around. Clarity resolves nothing but for the moment and against death. Again, death visits our homes. That is why we think no more. Enough dying is useless dying. It is better to fight for change. If we die now, it will not be the same, but will not be with shame, but with dignity, like our ancestors. We are ready to die, 150,000 more if necessary, so that our people awaken from this dream of deceit that holds us hostage. This is by Marcos. These are different like essays and little things, so it's a selective work. In the dreams, we have seen another world. In our dreams, we have seen another world. March 1st, 1994. To the Mexican people. To the people and the governments of the world. In our dreams, we have seen another world. An honest world. A world decidedly far more fair than the one in which we now live. We saw that in this world, there was no need for armies, peace, justice, and liberty, were so common. Oh, wait, let me read that. We saw that this world, where there was no need for armies, peace, justice, and liberty, were so common that no one talked about them as far off concepts, but as things such as bread, birds, air, water, like books, like book and voice. This is how the good things are named in this world. And in this world, there was reasons and goodwill in the government, and the leaders were clear-thinking people. They ruled by obeying. This world was not a dream from the past. It was not something that came to us from our ancestor. It came from ahead, from the next step. Where we going to take? And so we start to move forward to obtain this dream. Make it come and sit down at our table. Light our homes, grow in our cornfields, fill the hearts of our children, wipe our sweat, heal our history, and it was for all. This is what we want, nothing more, nothing less. We follow our path towards our truth, our heart to ask it, what we must do. We will return to our mountains to speak in our own tongues, in our own time. Thank you to the brothers and sisters who looked after us all these days. May your footsteps follow our path. Goodbye. Liberty, justice, democracy. That's again Marcos. Zoltan Zapata, or 500 Years of History, April 10th, 1994, on the anniversary of the Zapata assassination. Brothers and sisters, the Clandestine Indigenous Revolution Committee, General Command of the Zapatistas National Liberation Army, speaks to you to give you its words. At this moment, many thousands of men and women, children and elders, all indigenous Mexicans, find themselves gathered in hundreds of ejidos, ranches, localities, and communities in Mexico's countryside. Our hands also reach into the concrete hearts of the city. We are brought together with all those people before the tricolored flag, where the eagle devours the serpent, united by our common misery, by the collective oblivion unto which we were cast 501 years ago, by the useless death we endure, by our being fearless, faceless, with our names ripped from us, by our having bet our lives and deaths for someone else's future. We are united by one common hope before that flag, to change once and for all the ground and sky that today oppress it. To do this, we, the ones without a face and name, who call ourselves the professionals of hope, the most moral of all, the transgressors of justice, we who are the mountain, we of the nocturnal walk, who have no voice inside the palaces, we the foreigners in our own land, we the foreigners in our own land, the ones completely dead histories dispossessed, the ones without a homeland and a tomorrow, the ones with a tender fury, the ones of the unmuffled truth, the ones of the long night of scorn, the true men and women, the smallest of people, most dignified, the last, the best. We must open again the door of the brother heart, so it can receive our word. We must speak the truth. We must put the heart in our hands. Brothers and sisters, we want you to know who is behind us, who guides us, who walks in our shoes, who rules our heart, who rides our words, who rides our words, who lives in our deaths. Brothers and sisters, we want you to know the truth, and it is like this. From the first hour of this long night of our death, our most distant grandfathers say there was someone who gathered up our pain and our oblivion. There was a man there was a man who, walking his word from afar to our mountains, came and spoke with a tongue of the true men and women. His walk was and was not from these lands, from the mouths of our dead, from the mouths of the most knowing of our ancient ancestors. His words walked from him to our heart. There was and is, brother and sisters, he who, being and not being seed from these lands, arrived to the mountain, dying in order to live again, who lived with his heart dying from his walk, a foreigner, when he first arrived to the mountain with its nocturnal roof. He was and is a man. His tender word halts and walks in our pain. He is and is not in this land. Volta Zapata, guardian and heart of the people. Voltan Zapata, light light that came from afar, and was born here from our land, Voltan Zapata, named again forever a man of our people, Zoltan Zapata, a timid fire who lived our death 501 years. Zoltan Zapata, the name that changes, the man without a face, the tender light that watches over us. Death was always with us, and with death, hope died. Death arrived with Volta Zapata, the name without a name. Volta Zapata looked in Miguel, walked in Jose Maria, was Vincent, was named in Benito, flew in a bird, rode in Emiliano, shouted in Francisco, visited Pedro. We lived dying, named without a name in our own lands. The Volta Zapata arrived in our lands. Speaking his word fell into our mouths. He arrived and is here. Voltan Zapata, guardian and heart of the people. He is and is not everything in us. He is and is not everything in us. He is walking. Volta Zapata, guardian and heart of the people, keeper of the night, master of the mountains. Us, Volta, guardian and heart of the people. He is one and all. No one and all. Being, he is here. Voltan Zapata, guardian and heart of the people. That is the truth, brothers and sisters. You should know it. He will not die again in our life. In our death, he lives already and forever. Voltan, guardian and heart of the people. Without a name, he is named the faceless face. All and no one and all, living and in death. Volta, guardian and heart of the people. Here we go. Tempekumano, bird, always before us, walking behind us. Volta, guardian and heart of the people. He took a name in our being nameless. He took a face in our being faceless. He is sky. He is sky in the mountain. Volta, guardian of the heart of the people. And in our nameless, faceless path, he took a name and used the Zapatista National Liberation Army. With this new name, we name the nameless. With this flag, cover our face. We have a new face, all of us. With this name, we name the unnameable, Volta Zapata, guardian and heart of the people, the Zapatista National Liberation Army, arming a tender fury, a nameless name, an unjust peace made war, a death that is born, an anguish made hope, a pain that smiles, a silent shout, a person present for the foreign future, everything for everyone, nothing for us. We, the nameless, and the always dead. We, the Zapatistas National Liberation Army. We, the red and black flag beneath our tricolor eagle. We, the red star, at last in our sky. Never alone, but one more star. Yes, the smallest one. We only a gaze and a voice. We, the Zapatista National Liberation Army. We, Volta Guardians and heart of the people. It is the truth, brothers and sisters. We come from there. We are going there. Being here, we arrive. Dying death, we live. Volta Zapata, mother, father and mother, brother and sister, son and daughter, young and old. We are living. Receive our truth. In our dancing hearts, Zapata lives. Also and for always in these lands. Health to you, Mexican brothers and sisters. Health to you, Campesinacio of the homeland, of this homeland. Health to you, the indigenous of all the lands. Health to you, Zapatista fighters. Zapatista is being arrives. In death he lives. Viva Zapata. That must have been a poem. The storm of a prophecy in Chiapas, the southwest of two winds, written in August 1992. This essay by Marcos was not released publicly until January 27th, 1994. Here it is. The first wind, the one from above. One, which narrates how the supreme government, touched by the poverty of the indigenous people of Chiapas, lavished the area with hotels, prisons, barracks, and a military airport. It also tells how the beast feeds of the blood of the people, as well as other miserable and unfortunate happenings. Suppose that you live in the north, center, or west of this country. Suppose that you heed the old Department of Tourism slogans, quote, "Get to know Mexico first," end quote. Suppose that you decide to visit the southwest of our country, and that in the southwest you choose to visit the state of Chiapas. Suppose that you drive there. Getting there by airplane is not only expensive, but unlikely, a mere fantasy. There are only 2 civilian airports and 1 military one. Suppose that you take the Systemica Highway. Suppose that you pay no attention to the army barracks located in Montes Romero, and that you continue to Vetosas. Suppose that you don't notice the government immigration checkpoint near there. The checkpoint makes you think that you are leaving one country to enter another. Suppose that you decide to take a left and head towards Chiapas. Several kilometers further on, you will leave the state of Oaxaca, and you will see a big sign that reads, quote, "Welcome to Chiapas," end quote. Have you found it? Good. Suppose you have. You have now entered by one of the 3 existing roads into Chiapas. The road into the northern part of the state, the road along the Pacific coast, the road by which you enter are the 3 ways to get to this southern corner of the country by land. But the state's natural wealth doesn't leave just by way of these 3 roads. Chiapas loses blood through many veins, through oil and gas, ducts, electric lines, railways, through bank accounts, trucks, vans, boats, and planes, through clandestine paths, gasps, and forest trails. This land continues to pay tribute to the imperialist: petroleum, electricity, cattle, money, coffee, banana, honey, corn, cocoa, tobacco, sugar, soy, melon, serum, mango, tamarind, avocado, and Gipianico blood all flows as a result of the 1,000 teeth sunk into the throat of the Mexican Southwest. These raw materials, thousands of millions of tons of them, flow to Mexican ports, railways, air, and truck transportation centers. From there, they are sent to different parts of the world: the United States, Canada, Holland, Germany, Italy, Japan, but all to fulfill one same destiny: to feed imperialism. Since the beginning, the fee that capitalism imposes on the southwest part of this country makes Chiapas ooze blood and mud. A handful of businesses, one of which is the Mexican state, take all the wealth out of Chiapas, and in exchange leave behind their mortal and pestilent mark. In 1989, these businesses took 1,222,669,000 Wait, that's more. That's trillions. Hold on, let me look at this. Thousands, millions. Yeah, 1,222,669,000,000 pesos from Chiapas, and only left behind 616 billion pesos worth of credit in public works. More than, holy shit, 600 billion. That's hundreds, thousands, millions, billions. 600 billion pesos went to the belly of the beast. In Chiapas, Primex was 86 teeth. Let me make sure. I am a vanguardist. Just because I read other things doesn't make me not a Marxist, my friend. I read everything. I go after the position of George L. Jackson. George L. Jackson read everything. Every fucking thing. And still came out as a Maoist. So yeah, just because I'm a Marxist, Leninist Maoist, doesn't mean that I'm not going to read from other theory. Not going to do that. I'm going to read from other theory and learn what they have to say and analyze it. That's the whole point. In Chiapas, Primex has 86 teeth sunk into the township of Esquian Juarez, Reforma, I can't say these words, Aztecan, Pinachicoloco, and Oconsigo. Every day they suck out 92,000 barrels of petroleum and 517 billion cubic feet of gas. They take away the petroleum and gas, and in exchange leave behind marked of capitalism, ecological destruction, agricultural plunder, hyperinflation, alcoholism, prostitution, and poverty. The beast is still not satisfied and has extended its tentacles to the Lancando jungle. 8 petroleum deposits are under exploration, and paths are made by machetes by the same campesinos who are left without land by the insatiable species, insatiable. I can't say the damn words. I know what it is. Let me hear it. I don't get it. Just because I read a book that's an anarchist book doesn't mean that I'm an anarchist. It means that I'm actually trying to learn. People come in here oh my God, I thought you were a vanguardist. Oh no, I can't read other books. I guess I should just stick to Marxist books. Interesting. It's insatiable. Okay. The trees fall and the dynamite explodes on the land where campesinos are not allowed to cut down trees to cultivate. Every tree that is cut down costs them a fine that is 10 times the minimum wage and a jail sentence. The poor cannot cut down trees, but the petroleum beast can. A beast that every day fells more and more into foreign hands. The campesinos cut them down to survive. The beast cuts them down to plunder. Chiapas also bleeds coffee. 35% of the coffee produced in Mexico comes from this area. The industry employs 87,000 people. 47% of the coffee is for national consumption, and 53% is exported abroad, mainly to the United States and Europe. More than 100,000 tons of coffee are taken from this state that fattens the beast's bank accounts. In 1988, a kilo of Pergamino coffee was sold abroad for 8,000 pesos. The Chapaneco producers were paid 2,500 pesos or less. After coffee, the second most imported plunder is beef. 3 million head of cattle wait for middlemen and the small group of businessmen to take them away to fill refrigerators in Aranguia or Villa Harasimo in Mexico City. The cattle are sold for 400 pesos per kilo by the poor farmers and resold by the middlemen and businessmen for up to 10 times the price they paid for them. The tribute that capitalism demands from Chiapas has no historical parallel. 55% of the national hydraulic energy comes from this state, along with 20% of Mexico's total electricity. However, only a third of the homes of Chiapas have electricity. Where do the 2,907 kilowatts produced annually by hydroelectric plants of Chiapas go? In spite of the current trend towards ecological awareness, the plunder of wood continues in Chiapas forests. Between 1981 and 1989, 2,444,777 cubic meters of precious wood on conifers and tropical trees were taken from Chiapas to Mexico City, Puebla, Veracruz, and Quintana Roo. In 1988, food export brought a revenue of 23 billion 9 million pesos, 6,000% more than in 1980. The honey that was produced in 79,000 beehives in Chiapas goes entirely to the United States and Europe markets. The 2,756 tons of honey produced annually in the Chiapaneso countryside is converted into dollars that the people of Chiapas never see. Of the corn produced in Chiapas, more than half goes to the domestic market. Chiapas is one of the largest corn producers in the country. Sorghum grown in Chiapas goes to Tabasco. 90% of the tamarind goes to Mexico City and other states. 2/3 of the avocados and all of the mamey's are sold outside of the state. 69% of the coca, COCAO, goes to the national market. 31% is exported to the United States, Holland, Japan, and Italy. The majority of the bananas produced are exported. That means that Mexico is being imperialized and neo-colonized. What does the best leave behind in exchange for all it takes away? Chiapas has a total area of 75,634.4 square kilometers, some 2.5 million hectares. In this eighth largest for the purpose of looting. It is organized into 9 economic regions. 40% of the national plants varieties, 36% of its mammal species, 34% of its reptiles and amphibians, 66% of its bird species, 20% of its freshwater fish, and 80% of its butterfly species are found in Chiapas. 7% of the total national rainfall falls in Chiapas. But its greatest wealth is the 3.5 million people of Chiapas, 2/3 of whom live and die in rural communities. Half of them don't have potable water, and 2/3 have no sewage service. 90% of the world population pays little or no taxes. Communication in Chiapas is a grotesque joke. for the state that produces petroleum, electricity, coffee, wood, and cattle for the hungry beasts. Only 2/3 of the municipal seats have paved road accesses. 12,000 communities have no other means of transport and communications than mountain trails. Since the day of Porfirio Diaz, the railroad lines have serviced capitalism rather than the people. The railway line that follows the coast, there are only 2 lines. The other crosses the northern part of the state, dates back to the turn of the century, and its tonnage, it's limited by the old bridges that cross the canyons of the southwest. The only port of Chiapas, Puerto Madero, is just one more way for the beast to extract the state's resources. And education, it is the worst in the country. At the elementary school level, 72 out of every 100 children don't finish the first grade. More than half of the schools only offer up to a 3rd grade education, and half of the schools have only one teacher for all the courses offered. There are statistics, although they are kept secret, of course, that show that many indigenous children are forced to drop out of school due to their families' need to incorporate them into a system of exploitation. In any indigenous community, it is common to see children carrying corn and wood, cooking and washing clothes during school hours. On the 16,500 classrooms in 1989, only 96 were in indigenous zones. Industry. Look, 40% of Chiapas industry consists of nixtamal mills, tortillas, and mills to make wood furniture. The large companies, petroleum and electricity, which present 2% of the total industry, belong to the Mexican government, and soon to the foreigners. Mid-size industries, 4% of the total industry, is made up of sugar refineries and fish, seafood, flour, milk, and coffee processing plants. In the state of Chiapas, 94% of the area's industry is micro industry. The health conditions of the people of Chiapas are a clear example of the capitalist imprint. 1.5 million people have no medical services at their disposal. There are 0.2 clinics for every 1,000 inhabitants, 1/5 of the national average. There are 0.3 hospital beds for every 1,000 Chiapiancas. 1/3 of the amount of the rest of Mexico. There is 1 operating room per 100,000 inhabitants, 1/2 of the amount in the rest of Mexico. There are 0.5 doctors, 0.4 nurses per 1,000 people, 1/2 of the national average. Health and nutrition go hand in hand in poverty. 54% of the population in Chiapas suffers from malnutrition, and in the highlands, the forest, this percentage increases to 80%. The Campesinos' average diet consists of coffee, corn, tortillas, and beans. This is what capitalism leaves as payment for everything that it takes away. This part of Mexican territory, which willingly annexed itself to the young independent republics in 1824, became part of the national geography when the petroleum boom reminded the country that there was a Southwest. 82% of Pemex petrochemical plants are in the Southwest. In 1990, 2/3 of public investment in the Southwest was in energy. Chiapas' experience of exploitation goes back for centuries. In times past, wood, fruits, animals, and men went to the metropoles through the veins of exploitation. just as they do today. This reminds me of like Walter Rodney talking about like underdevelopment and development. It's really, yeah, like the Banana Republic, but at the peak of the neoliberalism and the libertarian revolution. The Southwest continues to export raw materials just as it did 500 years ago. It continues to import capitalism principal products, death and misery. 1 million indigenous people live in these lands and share a disorientating nightmare with mestizos and ladindios. Their only option 500 years after the meeting of the two worlds is to die of poverty and repression. The program to improve the conditions of poverty, a small bit of social democracy which the Mexican state throws about, and which under the regime of Salinas de Gortari carries the name Pronosol, are a joke that brings bloody tears to those who live under the rain and sun. Welcome, you have arrived in the poorest state in the country, Chiapas. Suppose that you drive onto Ocosocotola, and from there down to the Textla Gutierrez and the state capital. You don't stay long. On Textla Gutierrez is only a large warehouse that stores product from other parts of the state. Here you find some of the wealth that will be sent to whatever destination the capitalists decide. You don't stay long. You have just barely touched the lips of the wild beast's bloody jaws. You go to Chiapas de Corzo without notice the Nestle factory that is there, and you begin to climb up into the mountains. What do you see? One thing is certain: you have entered another world, an indigenous world, another world, but the same as that in which millions of people in the rest of the country live. 300,000 Tzotzilie, 120,000 cholos, 90,000 Zuquas, and 70,000 Tojolabels inhabitants this indigenous world. The Supreme Government recognizes that only half of these million indigenous people are illiterate. Continue along the mountain road, and you arrive in the region known as the Chiapas Highlands. Here, more than 500 years ago, indigenous people were the majority masters of their own and owners of land and water. Now, they are only the majority in population and in poverty. Driving on until you reach San Cristobal de las Casas, which 100 years ago was the state capital. Disagreements among the bourgeoisie robbed it of a dubious honor of being the capital of the poorest state in Mexico. No, don't linger. If Tuxtla Gutierrez is the largest warehouse, San Cristobal is the largest market from many different routes. The Zotezais, the Zotels, the Cholos, the Tojolabels, the Zonques bring the indigenous tribute to capitalism. Each brings something different: wood, coffee, cloth, handicrafts, fruit, vegetables, corn. Everyone brings something: sickness, ignorance, jeers, and death. This is the poorest region and the poorest state in the country. Welcome to San Cristobal de las Casas, a colonial city. According to the history books, although the majority of the population is indigenous. Welcome to Personalas, huge market. Here you can buy and sell anything except indigenous dignity. Here, everything is expensive except death. Don't But don't stay too long. Continue along the road and proud results of the tourist infrastructure. In 1988, there was 6,270 hotel rooms, 139 restaurants, and 42 travel agencies in this state. This year, 1,058,098 tourists visited Chiapas and left 250 million pesos in the hands of restaurants and hotel owners. Have you calculated the numbers? Yes, you are right. There are 7 hotel rooms for every 1,000 tourists, while there is only 0.3 hospital beds per 1,000 Japiancos citizens. Leaving the calculations behind and driving on, notice the 3 police officials in berets jogging along the shoulder of the road. Drive by the public security stations and continue past hotels, restaurants, large stores, and heading towards the exit to Comitan. Leaving San Cristobal behind, you will see a famous San Cristobal caves surrounded by leafy forests. Do you see the sign? No, you are not mistaken. This natural park is administered by the Army. Without leaving your uncertainty behind, driving on. Do you see them? Modern buildings, nice homes, paved roads. It is a university, workers' housing. Now look at the sign next to the cannon closely and read, quote, General Army Barracks of the 31st Military Zone, end quote, with the olive green image still in our eyes. Driving on to the intersection and decide not to go to the Comitan so that you will avoid the pain of seeing that a few meters ahead on the hill that is called the Foreigner, quote unquote, North American military personnel are operating and teaching their Mexican counterparts to operate radar. Decide that it is better to go to Ocosingo, since oncology and all the nonsense is very fashionable. Look at the trees, breathe deeply. Do not feel better. Do you feel better? Yes. Then be sure to keep looking to your left, because if you don't, you will see 7 kilometers ahead another magnificent construction with the noble symbol of solidarity on the facade. Don't look, I tell you, look the other way. You don't notice that this new building is a jail. Evil tongues say that this is a benefit of the Pronosol. Now, Compensacion won't have to go all the way to Ciro Huco, the prison in the state capital. No, brother, don't lose heart. The worst is always hidden. Excessive poverty, discouraged tourism continues on down to Haxuen, up to Oxchak. Look at the beautiful waterfall where the Yantet River, whose waters cross the Lascando jungle, begins past the Crujilla, and instead to allow the detour of Altamirano Drive until you reach Ocosingo, quote, the door of the Locandan jungle, end quote. I'm saying all these names wrong, everybody. Good. Still a while. Good. Stay a while. Take a quick tour around the city. Principal points of interest. The 2 large constructions at the entrance of the city are brothels. Next door is a jail. The building further beyond, a church. This other one is a beef processing plant. The other one, Army Barracks. Over there is the court, the municipal building. And way over there is Pemex. The rest are small piles of houses that crumble when the huge Pemex trucks and ranch pickup trucks trucks pass by. What does it look like? A Proforestia type, large landed estate. But that ended 70 years ago. No, don't follow the road that goes to San Quentin in front of the Montes Azules Reserve. Don't go to where the Yantate and the Paralas River joins. Don't go down there. Don't walk for 3 8-hour days. Don't go to San Martin and see that it is a very poor and small community. Don't approach that shed that is falling to pieces. What is it? And sometimes church, school, meeting rooms. Now it is a school. It is 11 a.m. No, don't go closer. Don't look in. Don't look at the 4 groups of children riddled with tapeworm and lice, half naked. Don't look at the 4 young indigenous teachers who work for miserable pay, that they have to walk 3 days, and the same 3 days that you just walked to collect. Don't notice that the only division between the classrooms is a small hall. Up to what grade do you teach here? 3rd. No, don't look at the posters, which are the only thing that the government has sent to these children. Don't look at them. They are posters about AIDS prevention. Better for us to move on. Let's return to the paved road. Yes, I know that it is in bad condition. Let's leave Ocosingo. Continue to admire the countryside, the owners. Yes, ranch owners. What is produced? Cattle, coffee, corn. Did you see the National Indigenous Institute? Yes, the one as you leave the city. Did you see those pickup trucks? They are given on credit to indigenous campesinos. They only take unleaded gas because it's better for the environment. There is no unleaded gas in Ocosingo. Well, that's not a big thing. Yes, you are right. The government is worried about the campesinos. Of course, evil tongues say that there are gorillas in these mountains and that the government's financial aid is really to buy indigenous people's loyalty. But these are rumors. Surely they are just trying to undermine Pronosol. What? The Citizens Defense Committee. Oh yes. It consists of a group of heroic ranchers, traders, and corrupt union bosses who organize small guards to threaten the people. No, I already told you that the Proforestia, large landed estates, was done away with 75 years ago. It would be better for us to move on. At the next intersection, take a left. No, don't go forward, Pelequen. Let's go to Chelan. Pretty? No. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yajelon. It's very modern. It even has a gas station. Look, there's a bank, the municipal building, the courthouse over there, the army. It looks like another hacienda. Look ahead and go ahead and look. You won't see those other large modern buildings on the outskirt of the town. Along the road, the Tella and the Sembenella, with their big, beautiful solidarity signs. You won't see that they are a part of a jail. Good. We have arrived at the intersection. Now to Ocosingo and Pelequen. After you, sure. Okay, let's go. Yes, the countryside is beautiful. Are those ranches? You're correct. They produce cattle, coffee, wood. Look. We're already at Pelequen. A quick tour of the city. Okay, Those are hotels. Over there, restaurants, municipal buildings, and courthouses. Those are the army barracks. And over there, what? No, I already know what you're going to tell me. Don't say it. Tired. Okay. Okay, well, stop for a bit. You don't want to see the pyramids? No. Okay. I don't... Xingnich an indigenous march. Yes, it's going to Mexico City. How far? 1,106 kilometers. The results? The government receives their petition. Yes, that's all. Are you still tired? More? Let's wait. To Banapek. The road is very bad. Okay, let's go. Yes, the panoramic route. The panoramic route. This is a federal military reserve. That other one belongs to the Navy. The one over there belongs to the Department of the Government. It is always like this. Is it always like this? No, sometimes they top it off with a Compañía protest march. Tired? Do you want to go back? Okay. Other places. Different places. In what country? Mexico? You will see the same. The colors will change. The languages, the countryside, the names, but the people, the exploitation, the poverty and death are the same. Just look closely at any state in the Republic. Well, good luck. And if you need a tourist guide, please be sure to let me know. I am at your service. Oh, one more thing. It will not always be this way. Another Mexico. No, the same. I am talking about something else. About other winds beginning to blow. As if another wind is picking up. 2. Okay, we're good. I'm sorry if that didn't make sense. It looks like they were just talking back and forth. All right, here we go. Hello, Two Spirit. I don't know how long you've been. What's long? God forbid that I read another book besides our Marxist book. Okay, sweet. 2, which tells the story of the governor and apprentice to the viceroy and his heroic fight against the progressive clergy and his adventures with the feudal cattle, coffee, and business lords. It also tells other equally fantastic tales. Once upon a time, there was a viceroy made of chocolate with a peanut for a nose. The viceroy's apprentice, Governor Patrocicano Gonzalez Ungaradio, in the manner of the old monarch, who were put in power by the Spanish crown during the conquest, has recognized the geography of Chiapas. The assignment of spaces to the urban and rural categories is a somewhat sophisticated exercise of power, but when dictated by Mr. Gonzalez Gerardo denseness, it has reached exquisite levels of unintelligence. The viceroy decided that the city with services and benefits should be for those who already have everything. And he decided, the viceroy, that the masses are fine out in the open, exposed to wind and rough waters, and that they only deserve space in the jails, which never cease to be uncomfortable. Because of this, the viceroy decided to construct jails on the outskirts of the city, so that the proximity of the undesirable and delinquent masses would not disturb the rich. Jails and army barracks are the principal works promoted by this government in Chiapas. His friendship with ranchers and powerful businessmen is a secret to no one. Neither is his animosity for the three dioceses and regulate the state's Catholic life. The diocese in San Cristobal, headed by Bishop Samuel Runs, is a constant menace to Gonzalo Gerardo's organization project, hoping to modernize the absurd system of exploitation and extraction that prevails in Chiapas. Patrocino Gonzalo comes up against the stubbornness of religious and secular figures who support and preach Catholicism, option for the poor. With the hypercritical applause of Aguilera Franco, the Bishop of Tuxtla Gutiérrez, and the mute approval of the Bishop of Tampanchila, Gonzalo Gerardo sustains and gives new life to the heroic conspiracies of ranchers and businessmen against the members of the Diocese of San Cristobal, Don Samuel's teams, as they are called by some, are not made up of inexperienced believers. Before Patricio Gonzalo Gerardo had even dreamed of being state governor, the Diocese of San Cristobal de la Casa preached the right to freedom and justice. For one of the country's most backwards bourgeoisie, the agricultural bourgeoisie, this could only mean one thing: rebellion. These ranchers and business, quote, patriots and believers, quote unquote, not know how to prevent rebellion. The existence of private financed armed paramilitary groups trained by members of the federal army, public security police, and state law is well known by the Campeanos who suffer from their threats, torture, and gunshots. A few months ago, Father Joel Pandron from the parish of Semajavals was arrested, accused by the region's ranchers of initiating and taking part in land takeover. Father Joel was arrested by state authorities and held in the Sirio Hukun jail in the state capital. The mobilization of the members of the Diocese of San Cristobal, those of Tuxtla Gutiérrez, and the Tampanchila were suspicious by their absence, and the federal compromise succeeded in obtaining the parish priest pardons freedoms, while thousands of Campeanos marched to Tuxtla Gutiérrez to demand Pandron's freedom. Ranchers in Ongansingo sent their paramilitary forces to clear out property owning Campeanos. Can't say the words, everybody. 400 men armed by the ranchers destroyed and burned houses, beat indigenous women, and murdered the Campeansino Juan by shooting him in the face. After the expulsion of the paramilitary forces, composed mostly of workers from local ranches and small property owners proud to take part in the raids with the young ranchers, drove along the region roads in pickup trucks provided by their masters, ostensibly displaying their arms. Drunk and intoxicated, they shooted. Ranchers are number one, and warned of everyone that it was only the beginning. Undaunted municipal authorities in Oncansingo, can't say the word, and soldiers stationed in the region looked on passively at the gunmen's triumphant parade in Tuxtla Gutiérrez. Almost 10,000 Campesinos marched in favor of Father Padran's release. In a corner of Ongansingo, Juan's windows buried her husband, victim of the proud ranchers. There was no march or protest petition for Juan's death. This is Chiapas. Recently, Viceroy Gonzalo Gerardo was a protagonist of a new scandal, which was uncovered because the press reported the story. With the Viceroy's approval, Ocosingo's federal lords organized the Committee of Citizen Defense, a blatant attempt to institutionalize their neo-pro-forestia paramilitary force that kept order in the countryside of Chiapas. Surely nothing would have happened if it had not been for the discovery of a plot of assassinate the parish priest Pablo Iberian and the nun Maria del Carmen, along with Samuel Rutz, the bishop of San Cristobal. The plot was reported by the honest Champencio press, which still exists, the Ranch National forums. There were reactions and denials. The viceroy declared that he maintains good relations with the church and named a special committee to investigate the case. The investigation yielded no results, and all continues was before. During the same days, government agency had some horrifying statistics known in Chiapas. 14,500 people died every year, the highest mortality rate in the country. The causes? Curable diseases such as respiratory infections, intritus, parasites, amoebas, malaria, salmonella, scabies, dengue, pulmonary tuberculosis, trachoma, syphilis, cholera, and measles. Many say that the figure is actually over 15,000 because deaths is in the marginalized zone. The majority of the state are not reported. During the Patrocinio Gonzalo Gerardo's fourth year term, more than 60,000 Campeonescos have died, most of them poor. The war against the people, directed by the viceroy and carried out by the feudal lords, consists of methods more subtle than bombardments. There is no mention in the press of this murderous plot, which claims lives and land, just as in the days of the conquest. The Committee for Citizen Defense continues to carry out its proselytizing work, holding meetings to convince the rich and poor of the city of Ocosingo that they should organize and arm themselves so that the campesinos won't enter the city, because they will destroy everything without respecting the rich or the poor. The viceroy smiles with approval. What time is it? 3. Let me look at 3. See how long 3 is going to go. I'm sorry, everybody, for mispronouncing shit. Let me see here. We're on page 59. Everybody remember 59, 3. Okay. All right. Let's do it. 3. Which tells how the viceroy had a brilliant idea and put it into practice. It also tells how the empire decreed the death of socialism, and then put itself to the task of carrying out this decree, to the great joy of the powerful and the distress of the weak and the indifference of the majority. It tells the Zapata that how he is said to still be alive. It also tells the others disconcerting events. The Viceroy is worried. The Campesinos refuse to applaud the institutional pillage written into the new Article 27 of the Constitution. The Viceroy is enraged. The poor aren't happy being exploited. They refuse to humbly accept the charity of Pronasol spreading around the Champagnancio countryside. I'm sorry, everybody, I cannot pronounce these words. The Viceroy is desperate. He consults his advisors. His advisors tell him an old truth. Jails and military bases aren't enough to ensure continued domination. It is also necessary to control people's thoughts. The Viceroy is disrupted. He paces in his palace. Then he stops and smiles. Oh my gosh. The Jincho radio station, XEOCH, Echoes radio station, rap and lives for the Campesinos. What the hell do you say this? Will it say it for me?
XEOCH radio station, rap and lives for the Campesinos.
The Campesinos, okay. In the Ungansengo and the Pelican, the Cancun and the Cholon, the Altamirano and the Yelgelian, the indigenous people are celebrating. A new gift from the supreme government has made life a little happier for the peons, small landowners, landless campesinos, and the impoverished inhabitants of the El Gendios. They have been given a local radio station that reaches the most isolated corners of eastern Chiapas. The station programming is fitting. Marabes and rap music proclaim the good news. Chiapas countryside is being modernized. Empecos XEOCH transmits from the township of Ogasingo and can be found at 600 megahertz AM from 4 in the morning till 10 at night. Its news show abound with lies. They tell the disorientation that subversive lays workers spread among the peasantry and the abundance of aid credits that are never received by the indigenous communities and the existence of public work that have never been built. The Viceroy is also giving time on the air to that he can remind the population that threats that not all is lies and rap music. There are also jails and military bases and penal codes that is the most repressive in the Republic. The penal code punishes any expression of discontent, the laws against demonstrations, rebellion, inciting to riot, and so on demonstrates that the Viceroy is careful to maintain everything in order. There isn't any reason to fight. Socialism has died. Long live conformity, reforms, and modern world capitalism, and all the cruelties that are associated with them. The Viceroy and the feudal lords dance and smile euphorically in their palaces. Their joy is disconcerting for the few free thinkers who live in the area. Even they are incapable of understanding. They are without hope. It is true that one must fight, but the balance of forces isn't favorable. Now isn't the time. We must wait longer, maybe years, We must be alert against the adventurers. We must make sure that nothing happens in the cities or in the countryside, that everything continues as always. Socialism has died. Long live capitalism. Radio, the print media, and television proclaim it. It is repeated by some ex-socialists who are now amazingly changed. No, not everyone who hears the voice of hopelessness and conformity are carried away by hopelessness. There are millions of people who continue without hearing the voices of the powerful and the indifferent. They can't hear. They are deafened by the crying and the blood that death and poverty are shouting in their ears. But when there is a moment of rest, they hear another voice. They don't hear the voice that comes from above. They hear the voice that is carried to them by the winds from below, a voice that is born in indigenous hearts of the mountains. The voice speaks to them about justice and freedom. It speaks to them about socialism, about hope, and only hope that exists in the world. The oldest of the old of the indigenous communities say that there once was a man named Zapata who rose up with his people and sang out, quote, land and freedom, end quote. These old Campesinos say that the Zapata don't die, that he must return. These old Campesinos also say that the wind and the rain and the sun tell the Campesinos when to cultivate the land, when to plant, when to harvest. They say that hope is also planted and harvested. They also say that the wind and the rain and the sun are now saying something different. That with so much poverty, the time has come to harvest rebellion instead of death. That is what the old Campesinos say. The powerful don't hear. They can't hear. They are deafened by the brutality that the empire shouts in their ears. Zapatas insists the wind and the wind from below are wind. And that's where we'll stop. And we'll go over to where it says the second wind, the wind from below. And that is page 62. I like that I can add bookmarks now. So much nice. So it looks like he's just going through the what's going on. A little bit of the history, a little bit about like that area that they're in is over exploited and imperialized and neo-colonized, and that like going through like the makeups and the tourism and stuff like that, which is very exploitation in what the indigenous people say. So it's pretty good stuff. Marcos, we're going to learn more about this. So this is good stuff. Realizing that Mexico is being imperialized and neo-colonized. So maybe we'll find out today, but we're finding out that yeah. So go ahead, Joe.
I don't really have anything much to add. I love that it brought up more voices. I really like the one She. It was entitled She, and it was like she has no name and no face, and I really like that one. I think the writing is so deep that when you read it, like you can imagine it.
Yeah, and also the other thing too is the nameless and faceless is their format, because they're just people with masks that seek liberation process, and that in a way it conceals and protects them too, because if they have no names, no face, how can you find them? You know what I mean? Anybody else have anything to say? All right. Looks like no one else has anything to say.
I was gonna say I also really like learning the history of the poorest area and how there's still a voice of the revolution and the wind and how they put that.
Yeah. I like how that anarchist came in and said, like, oh my God, I thought you were a vanguardist. I thought you were, I'm like, what? I'm not allowed to read other books that are not Marxist? Like, what are you talking about? It's like, this is the dogmatism, right? That as a Maoist, I'm supposed to stick to the lane of Marxism and not like read other types of theories and stuff. It's fucking wild. It's like, I'm not dogmatic. I won't try to be dogmatic, you know? With shit.
Yeah.
You were weird. All right, everybody. If no one else has anything to say, I'll go ahead and close it down and we'll read some more tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.